first question, I guess, is what is your process for finding the characters, like the voices that you're going to be doing for new roles?
What's the process of finding?
Like the voice that's going to fit that character.
There's a lot of different factors. It could be, well, really, what's the story? What's the story? Who is the person that I'm voicing? What is their background? Where are they coming from? Where are they going? The bunch of questions you ask your director or whoever's in there, just so you kind of get a sense of who they are, and then find out what's their age, so you kind of know where to put the voice, and then you just kind of play with that and find. You really, for me, just trying to find a place where I can relate to the character. Because if I can relate to the character, if I can believe that I am that character, then I could be real, at least for me, and then hopefully then that'll translate into whoever's watching. But there's quite a few other things, but then generally you just try to find out the basic idea, and then what's the mood really, what's the overall mood of the film or the series or whatnot.
Do you do any of your own research into the character?
I do, yeah. Especially if I know I'm going into it, and because I don't always know the name of the projects, but sometimes within the audition, you can gather enough information. Because a lot of times I keep it pretty top secret. But then there's some things in there where like, man, this feels like this, and so you kind of start looking it up. And if they have a picture of the character, you can use that to try to find it too. And I've done that plenty of times too. And then I sometimes even use that picture, that image, to see if I can locate what it's about, and then do the audition. Or after the audition, if I've booked it, then gather a little more information from them to see if I can look up what it's about. What am I getting into? I like to know what I'm getting into. There's been a few times where I agreed to a project, just agreed because my agent sent it to me, and I'm like, well, I want to make sure my agent's happy too. And then I do the project, and I'm like, I really didn't like that at all, like the story or the character, but I did it because it came through my agent, and I want to work, but at the same time, I'm like, that probably wouldn't have been something I would have done had I known more about it. So I do try to do a lot of my own research, Does that make sense?
Yes.
My turn.
All right, you can go, then I'll go after that. We'll just alternate. Okay.
Have you considered your band Eyeshine more metal and hard rock and grunge on your next albums? Well, what genre would you do on your next few albums?
Well, Eyeshine is now Where Giants Fall. That's our new name.
Okay.
And we just released an album last November.
Neato.
Yeah, so no, it's not hardcore or anything like that. I think when we were Eyeshine, we just played whatever the heck we wanted, whatever we liked, whatever mood we were in. There are some albums that were more melodic, and then some albums that were a little harder or edgier. We
Like
just kind
progressive metal, you're saying.
Was that?
Like progressive or avant-garde.
You know what? To be honest, I didn't even think about that. It wasn't anything. I was just like, this is what I feel like playing or writing, and then we would just do that. And so we have a new music project because we've kind of matured as musicians and whatnot. And so Where Giants Fall is a new project. You can go check it out. It's out there all over the place. So
Thank you.
yeah.
So how did you get started into voice acting?
How did I get started? After Power Rangers, I did an action film with the stunt team, the Japanese stunt team, Alpha Stunts. And so they had a camera that was a Japanese camera, and the audio gear was not, and somehow it did not work. And I don't know what went on there, but I basically had to go in after the film was done and dub myself throughout the film. And as I was dubbing myself, the producer walked in, heard my voice, thought I had a decent sounding voice, and asked me to come audition for some animation. And I auditioned for Trigun. I booked that, and that basically kind of opened the doors, and then somebody heard me in Trigun, asked me to come audition for this, and it just kind of became a thing. So yeah, total fluke.
Okay, my turn?
Yep.
Jason David Frank said you dropped him during training on the ground at Animatos. Is true or false?
I did not drop him on the ground. we were doing backflips off of a tree.
Oh, wow.
And so we had different techniques, and he would take 3 steps and I would spot him, right? So
Yeah.
one time, and we would do this constantly. So I would just bounce off of the tree. So I'd hop off and hop off, just boing, boing. And he would take 3 steps and then backflip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was used to him taking 3 steps. So as he's running towards me, he said, "I'm going to keep going." I didn't know what that meant. I don't know. Is he having fun? He just wants to keep doing this forever? I don't know. So he takes 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. I stick my hand out, 4, 5, like 6. And I'm like, wait a second. He means he's going to keep going up the tree? Like, what is it? And so now he's falling down towards me. And
Oh.
he's a grown man. So yeah, I stepped out of the way.
Nice.
And he hit the ground. So I did not drop him. I just refused to let him fall on me from that high.
Did you catch him?
I did not catch him. No.
Boo.
He's
Well.
a tough fighter.
Yeah, well, you
Your
know
turn,
what?
Mike.
Alright.
He's a big boy.
Alright.
He should have changed it. That's what he should have done.
All right. Whoop. Who inspired you to get into acting and voice acting?
Those are different things. Acting, it wasn't really a thing I was looking forward to doing. I just really wanted to do action on camera. So if you're talking about that, then it's Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, Yong Bosch. It's like, Billy Chong, like all these old school kung fu guys. Like that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't like the acting part I didn't really think about until much later. Voice acting was again just something I fell into. Like I mentioned before, it was just something messed up in the sound, and I had to do the voiceover for it. And the producer thought I had a decent hero voice, so really it was just kind of again, it was just a total fluke, and just became a thing. Once I realized that I could do voiceover, then I was like, well, I could do this now. But it was because I could not continue, like for whatever reason, I couldn't book any work on camera. There weren't enough half Asian roles. There are a lot of Asian roles or Caucasian roles. There's nothing half Asian when I was really looking. And so thankfully there was voiceover, and it didn't matter what I looked like. And so since I couldn't do this, I was like, oh, there's this. And so then I just kind of dug my heels in and made that the thing I was going to put my focus in.
Are you excited about Bleach coming back and being able to finish the series?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be hard falling back into that character after
Not
so
at
many
all.
years?
No, Ichigo is one of those characters I know, and I probably know better than most people, and just know him, And so for getting into him and getting into that space is not going to be very difficult. I will watch through, though, because I'm going to watch quite a bit to get me back in, just kind of refresher, really. But Ichigo is definitely somebody who I know pretty well.
Yeah, I know a lot of us are very excited.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's actually coming back? Wow, that's awesome.
Nice,
They're gonna
cool.
finish
So
up
I
the
recently got
series.
Crunchyroll. I've had Funimation for years. So
Yeah.
Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
And you'll be voicing Ichigo again. It'll be good to hear your voice again.
It will be
Yes.
good, yeah.
Ichigo.
What are the 3 favorite characters you voiced?
I don't have 3 favorites. I have
Just name some on top of your head.
Ichigo's one. Vash is
Nice.
another. Lelouch is another. There's 3.
If what would Jonathan Joestar's stand be if he could have one? What would you want him to have for a stand?
I don't know. I don't think he should have one. I like that he really kind of didn't really have one. I think that was kind of unique to him.
Deal! I know exactly how to deal with you! Daya gave up his life, which showed me just how vulnerable you are!
I didn't want him to go out like that either, but
Oh, no, that's a long
I
time,
think
man.
it's
So much to show.
it was cool though. I dug him. It was a fun, bizarre adventure. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he should have one, or at least it should be a mystery.
So Blue Period is quickly becoming a fan favorite, and more fandom is like going towards it. Are you excited to be doing more seasons and seeing where the character in the show goes?
I would love to do more Blue Period. Yeah. It's just first. I mean, I love art. First off, and it felt No, I didn't read the manga, so I don't know any deviations from that. But I felt like with what I know of the anime and the experience that I had, and Todd Haberkorn directed it, he actually had to rewrite about 90% of it, just as far as the translations and whatnot, just to make things right. But it was fun. I really enjoyed the character. I loved the passion, you know, and I could kind of relate to that in a way, you know. And so I thought it was great. And, I would love to do more.
Yeah,
I don't know if there is more, but I would love to.
I think there is. The manga's, I don't know.
I don't know how far the manga goes.
It's
you know.
I haven't read it yet either, but my friends are like, you have to read it.
I hear the
Can't
manga
miss
is
it.
great, you know, and I think there might be some people that obviously anytime you take a manga and then turn it into anime, there could be, you know, there's better things in the manga, whatever, right? But I don't know the manga that well. I really know the anime, but it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I heard when I watched it, it did it justice from what I've heard, and it has such important messages in it, especially for young people nowadays. and
Yeah,
everything in
I
it.
felt like there was quite a bit in there, and I heard both things, but I felt like for me, I understood it.
Mhm.
You know, and it wasn't too far out there as far as like, it makes sense, the things that we're saying as far as like when it comes to art and things like that, and you can kind of see that, you know, and then when you go look at some actual art and you go, oh, okay, I kind of see some of the things, you know, that were done in there, you know, it made sense to me, and it was cool. I really enjoyed the character.
Okay. Have you ever done ADR directing before?
Once.
What anime?
It wasn't an anime, it was a film.
Is the film, is it out right now? It's not out right now, if you could talk about it.
Yeah, it's called Broken Path.
Where can I find that one?
It's also called Attack of the Yakuza.
Oh,
Ooh.
But it just, you can find it online, actually. It's on, you can find it on YouTube. They didn't really
Nice.
sell it over here in the US, they sold it mostly overseas, but you can find it on YouTube. I think it's under Broken Path on YouTube. But it was just, it's a live action.
live action. Okay. All right, here's a question. Have you ever cosplayed as Ichigo or Vash Stampede with a Black Ranger at an anime convention or on Halloween?
No. I did cosplay as Kiba from Wolfstrain.
Oh, that is
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Where was that? Was that here? No, it was Otakon. I did that at Otakon. Yeah. But it was really, it was a long time ago. It was when Wolfstrain was out, but was it 2003 maybe? Something like that. And then there was a group that was doing the cosplaying the characters, right?
Nice.
But they didn't have a Kiba, you know, which I voiced Kiba, and I was like, I don't know if I have, you know, first off, I didn't think I looked like him. They're like, I don't think I have the stuff to make it work. And then the young lady that was putting it together was like, oh, I can get all the stuff. And I was like, all right, fine. If you're gonna get the stuff set up, then I'll go there and wear it, and we can take pictures, and I'll keep it. So it was fun. I haven't done it since, but had a wig and everything.
So you played a lot of characters. Is there a certain type that you like? Because you played heroes, you played villains, you played some in between. Is there a certain type that you just love to play that has like a certain personality?
There's not really a certain one. I do like playing various, you know. I do like, you know, like, I don't know, like Blue Period is very different from Bleach, you know, versus, you know, Trigun or Code Geass or Promare. You know, those characters are so different. You know, I just, the fun thing is, you know, we have a lot of things in our head, you know, and a lot of like things that we hold back or things we don't get to do or can't be, you know, and sometimes when you act, you get to be or do those things, you know, and so it's really kind of great, and it's kind of therapeutic to be able to play various different characters. And there's not one type that I like. I do basically like all types. It's the story. It's like what happens in the story. Like how does the character evolve, you know, and seeing that progression and getting from this place to this place and then working that way to get there, you know, is super fun. You know?
Okay. Do you do voiceover workshops?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I've thought about it, but I have not. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are doing those things, you know. I do have my secrets, you know, and the things that I do, that I don't know that they're really that different from other
Okay.
people. Maybe they are, you know, but, you know, I don't think I really do anything that unique or special. And I think a lot of, like Steve Bloom has, you know, he does some great stuff, and I would always recommend someone like him, you know.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah, maybe one day.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Your
All
turn,
right, I
Mike.
gotta think some questions in my head. Can you recommend any anime or voice in that isn't popular that you think is really good?
That I haven't worked on, you just in general.
Yeah, or some animes you were in that weren't popular but you really liked that you recommend people.
Well,
check
I feel
out?
like Wolf's Rain was one that I think a lot of people did get to check out. You know, and I thought that was a pretty good one. But man, that's all opinion. You know, I might like something that you won't like. You know, you might like something I won't like.
Oh, Wolf's Rain was good.
There's all kinds of things like that.
I like
Yeah.
Trigun.
Yeah. I don't know. I like a lot of stuff, man, really. But it also depends on the mood, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it depends on like what you're going through. Maybe you want to see something that's like a mystery, or maybe you want to see an action thing. Maybe you want to see a slice of life thing. Sometimes that's
Yeah.
even nice to just kind of
Yeah.
sit back and watch it. You know, something that's just kind of easy going. It's not stressful at all. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just depends, really. I'm pretty broad when it comes to those things. You know, I'm good with watching all sorts of stuff. Been watching Sailor Moon with my daughter and enjoying that. You know?
Nice.
The simplicity of it, you know, and
Mhm.
and the predictability of the show too. I kind of just enjoy it. It's not
Yeah.
one that I don't have to sit there and focus, you know. And so after a
Right.
long day of work or whatever, I can just sit there and enjoy it.
Does your daughter know you do the voice acting before you tell her that she did it? That you did voice
She
acting?
knows I'm in there as Artemis, but
Nice.
I think we're just now about to start seeing Artemis show up in the series.
Oh, she'll be quite surprised then.
Yeah, well, I don't know. She's not too surprised. She knows what I do.
Oh, cool.
When she was little, she used to come with me to the studio and watch me record, you know, and she would fall asleep under the table or
Aw.
something. But then, like, her teachers would ask, "What does your dad do for work?" or whatever, and she was like, "Oh, he talks to the TV."
That's
Which
awesome.
sounds like I'm a crazy person, but really it's because like we have a TV usually there when it comes to anime, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's the animation that I'm like, I do the
Ad-libbing.
voice for, you know. So it looks like I'm talking to a TV, but that's how she would describe it to people. Oh, my dad
Oh.
talks to the TV. I'm like,
That's
no,
awesome.
no, baby, I don't just talk to the TV. There are things that are happening. I'm not crazy. You're making me sound like a crazy person. I thought that was pretty funny though.
Has there been a character that's ever been difficult finding the voice for?
Difficult finding the voice for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's certainly been some like that. You know, I remember Lelouch and Code Geass in the beginning was a little tricky for me because perspective, I thought, you know, I was seeing things at a different perspective, maybe a more of a, I don't know, an American culture, kind of an antagonist slash protagonist, but then when I heard the direction from the Japanese director, and I'm like, okay, more Phantom of the Opera. So it took a little more to find that where I was comfortable with it. There's been a few. There've been quite a few. You know that, you know, even Renton in Erodeka 7. But sometimes it's like somebody wants it to sound a certain way, whereas I kind of maybe my instinct is like, well, I don't know that that's right, you know. And so I would say something like, I think I should be doing this, but I'll do it this way, but it feels like for me that I should be doing this. And then most of the time, unfortunately, most of the time I find out later that I was correct and I maybe should have just done it that way, you know, or forced my way through. But, you know, I want to keep working, so I have to do what I'm told, you know, at least in the beginning of things. And then I can kind of say, all right, guys, come on.
My turn.
All right,
Your
turn.
band Eyeshine,
Mhm.
you're the vocalist and guitarist, correct?
Yeah.
What is your favorite instrument or brand of guitar you play while singing?
I like Telecaster. you
Nice,
know.
I'm a Fender person myself.
I like Fender, yeah, I do. I really like
Gibson.
Fender. But I have Gibson as well. I like when I record with the Gibson, but really when I'm changing, like I'll use my Fenders for throughout the song, but then I'll
Nice.
layer Gibson for like choruses, things like that, just to get a different feel.
Oh, cool. And who are your bandmates?
Polo Yazaki is my other bandmate.
Is he the percussionist or drummer?
No, he's a lead guitarist. you
Oh,
know?
nice.
Yeah, and so really just him and I, we do all the, we do everything. The keys, the synth, and the drums, and bass.
Nice. Just a
It's
two-man
just us
group.
two right now, yeah.
Duo.
We used to be a four-piece,
music.
3-piece, then a 4-piece, and then it got hard to keep people around because being unsigned and independent, there's not a whole lot of money in it, and so, but for me and Polo, it's kind of a passion thing for us. We just keep making music, Yeah.
Understands. Here's your mic.
Will we ever see you on anime TV? I remember I used to watch you on that a long time ago.
Anime TV, yeah. I don't know that they'll do it again. They tried to pitch it a long time ago. I think it was probably ahead of its time. If it came out 5 or 10 years later, I think it would have became something. Because it was like like YouTubers weren't really a thing yet. So if it came out a little bit later, it could have been a thing. But it was ahead of its time. But I don't know that they'll try to do that again. It's a big ordeal for them.
So you seem to be in hit anime after hit anime. Do you just keep working, or do you ever just take a time off for a little bit?
Definitely take time off, but it depends. It's like I don't control when things come in. I just see them come in.
Mhm.
So I like even this. I have maybe 20 auditions that came in. Within this past week or whatever. And so now, like I used to audition for every single one of them,
Mhm.
but now I kind of go through and I look at it and I'm like, all right, what's the story? What is this character? Is it something I would maybe want to get? Because I would hate to audition for something,
Mhm.
get the role, and be like, I'm not interested,
Mhm.
So now I just don't audition if I'm spent the time to figure it out, But then there's a handful of them that I see, and then I'm like, all right, I think I want to do this one because this one sounds interesting.
Yeah. You're picking quite a really great ones.
I've been fortunate,
Yeah.
But the thing is like I could audition for 100 things and only get one,
Mhm.
So I still audition quite a bit, but I'm a little pickier. But that it's also a lot of times there are a lot of games that come in,
Mhm.
and I don't want to burn out my throat on games, And the roles are just like soldier, whatever A or something, right? So it's not anything that I think is important. It can just be a job. Yeah.
I hear it's very difficult to be a voice actor sometimes because when the anime character is speaking, you have to go to the voiceover and it's like you have to say like da-da, da-da.
Oh, you're talking about matching flaps.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was translated in Japanese. I see what you're saying. So
Yes.
yeah, so it's a little tricky, but once you do it enough, and it's really just timing, And
Oh
I feel
my.
like being, able to like music, knowing music, and having some kind of rhythm, it's tricky. It's not easy because
No, it's
you
not.
don't get to take home a script and memorize it.
That's difficult.
And it also wouldn't make sense for you to do that. So you get it right there on the spot. It's like doing a cold read. So you get the script right when you walk into the booth.
Okay.
And the thing is the way that I talk might be faster or slower than the way you talk.
Right.
So even though they've already translated it from Japanese,
Yeah.
the way I'll say that line and fit the flap might work with what they wrote. So
Right.
me memorizing it wouldn't make any sense. So then you come in, you look at it, and you quickly glance at the line, memorize it, and then look up. Or you're doing this kind of thing. And then you try to match the flap that way, you see where
You have
things
to do
fall.
memorization patterns.
You have to be able to spot it, yeah.
Ooh, that's
And so there's a
difficult.
lot going on there that people don't realize. It's like you have to quickly memorize your line and then balance that out and go like, oh, there's a hitch there. And I need to do that again because there's a hitch, and so I need to paste this
Etch?
like a gap.
Oh,
Yeah, or there's like a gap or a space between,
Oh.
and so then it's like you talk, and then talk, or the mouth stays open. So there's a lot that comes into it. And after you've done it for many years, you just know how to do it, you know. And then
Gotcha.
and then when you have either you have a great writer who knows how to
Mhm.
write things out and pace them out to the various actors that they know, you know, or there's a director in there that adjusts it on the fly. You know, it's like that's
Right.
not going to fit, you know, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's confusing, but yeah, I mean that. I guess that would be a workshop I would do if I were to ever do a workshop. Maybe Steve Bloom does this kind of thing too, but with anime, it's very different, and it's matching flaps and then making things sound natural. You know, it's tricky.
Right.
There's a lot of timing, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise you're gonna talk like this and sound really robotic and foolish.
Like
right?
Speed Racer.
So you have to make it sound right. Yeah, well, Speed Racer, they would just cram it all in as fast as they could.
Yeah.
You know, it was like because they had to fit it within that little flat. You know,
Right.
which is funny. But
Yes, it is.
it's not the way it should be done.
No.
Unless you're making fun of anime.
Yeah.
most of the studios are better at that anyways now. So and it
That's
took a long
good.
time, so. But sometimes you can still get something, and the script will just sound wrong. You know?
I
Blue
see.
Period was one where it did sound wrong, but it sounded translating. You know, I would look at it and go like, oof, that doesn't sound natural. And Todd would know, and Todd would be like, yeah, why don't you take 5? This is going to be a long run. And then Todd would sit there and tweak the heck out of the line to make it sound natural. And then I would come back in and be like, yeah, okay, that looks good. And then we would just go. Yeah. So it's always nice to have a director or somebody who really understands first how to speak normally, you know. But Todd also knows me and what I can do, and you know what makes sense too, what's naturally, you know, sounding.
What's the most difficult character you've ever voiced before?
Difficult?
Yeah.
Broly. It's because he's
I see that.
screaming. It's all screaming.
Oh.
Well, and I say difficult because that's the one character that really burns my throat out.
Oh.
You know, and I've only really worked on it in the game,
Hopefully
so maybe
Ichigo
that's
doesn't
not.
blow your throat. Ichigo.
No,
Oh.
Ichigo just sounds like me. Yeah.
Right.
Broly. Wow.
So for my last question, I guess, so what is some advice that you would give to people who are aspiring to be voice actors themselves?
People that are aspiring to be voice actors? Well, I would say, I mean, there's a lot. You can find a lot of other what's it, Deep Bradley Baker, whatever, has some stuff online. They can answer questions, I think. I think acting is the most important thing, you know, so having some kind of acting classes under your belt, it's super important. And you'll end up running into a time when you'll have a director that you don't see eye to eye on the character. And so you have to be able to do what they want and still be natural. And sometimes there might be an internal resistance there. So being able to act and switch gears, and then sometimes the direction will be completely different from what you thought, and so that you just have to be able to change on the fly, you know. You know, and there's a lot that goes into that. I would definitely do some acting. I would take some classes or a workshop, you know, if some other actor like Steve Bloom who does them, I would definitely recommend finding somebody like that. You know, if that's the space you want to get into, of course you should go listen to see what that person is doing. Otherwise, are you even really serious, you know? Yeah, act, and then find somebody that's in that space specifically, a voice actor, that's a professional, you know, that is actually working. And then I would 100% look into that and get some advice there. And then COVID changed a lot of things too. So, I don't know. It's a little trickier now, I think, because I don't know how many are going back into the studio yet, you know. And thankfully, because of my band, I had a lot of my own gear, you know, microphones and everything. So for me, it wasn't super smooth, but it was a smoother transition for me to go because I had my own booth and everything. But so I don't know. There's a lot there. I guess that's all I could say. I would also say try to create your own characters and your own thing. You can find some animators or whatever. Try to find some jobs here and there and put together a demo if you can, and try to get an agent, because then you can get auditions. Once you get auditions, you can get a job, and you know, once you get one, that can lead to another, you know, as I know.
And last question, how would you recommend, this is the same thing she asked but different, how would you recommend for younger people, like kiddos, to get into voice acting, like for example Alphonse from Full Metal Alchemist? He was like I believe 10 or 11 when he first voice acted. How would you recommend them going about that? From the MFMA, the original FMA.
I would say exactly the same thing I just said. I would say start studying acting.
Yes.
You know, find some professional that teaches, you know, that is a working actor, that you know their work, and then you can trust their work and trust that what they're saying. I mean, I don't know, Steve Bloom is a perfect example. You know, he's a
Right.
working actor, he's a professional, and he teaches. You know, so I'm like, what the heck? That's like the perfect place to go. You know, because then. And you'll find out real fast if this is something you want to do. And, you know, I'm
Right.
sure that he'll point things out. And I think the first one that you do with him is free. So
Yeah.
why, if you're serious about it, go to someone like that, you know.
Okay, like how would that conflict with schoolwork for the kids?
I don't know. You'd have to talk to that kid and their school. And, I mean, that's a whole
That's
different world.
complicated because, like, I remember when I was a kid watching FMA when I was like 14, 13.
Yeah, I don't know.
was
That's a
wondering,
tricky thing. That's, I mean,
how could he not
you
get in
have
trouble
to
at
have parents
school?
that support it.
Yeah.
You know, if your parents don't support it at that age, it's going to be kind of difficult. So you'd
Difficult,
have to
yeah.
talk to your parents and see if you can get them on board with letting you at least audition for a couple of things. You know,
Okay.
that's tricky though. I don't know really if I have the right answer for that sort of stuff.
Thank you for.
I don't know if I have the right answer for
letting me
anything.
know
I'm
that.
just, you know.
So what's your thoughts this year? I mean, you've been
This
to
year?
Sakura-Con a lot. You've been to Sakura-Con lots of times, and there's always been those guest receptions. But this year, they're not doing a guest reception this year.
I'm fine with it. You know, I'm okay with whatever they want to do. Sakura-Con's always been good to me.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
So.
I like Sakura-Con.
Yeah, they're good people.
Agreed.
And so, I'm just glad that they still like to have me around. You know, actually, this was the first convention I think I'd ever gone to.
Nice, and
Was
we like having you
Sakura-Con,
around.
You know, it was the first con I did, so it's nice to be able to come back. You know.
Yeah.
And it also kind of, I mean, the great thing for me coming to a convention, I get to find out really which shows I worked on connect to people. You know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool seeing Blue Period connecting because I wasn't sure that it would. You know, I'm like, it's not action packed. It's kind of more, you know, this person's passion, maybe a little more slice of life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but I really enjoyed it. You know,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of cool that it's making some connection to people, which is super cool. Yeah.
It's exciting that like Good Smile Company is actually doing a figure for it so soon after it just came out. So a lot of people were freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's really cute.
I hope there's more. I really do.
I hope there's more seasons. I mean, I'm trying to get into artistry myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
do
it's
I
a
do
really cool
photography.
one. You kind of fall in love with art, you
Yeah.
know, by going through it or watching it. You know, it's like you have more respect for it at least.
Yeah, my mom does paintings, realistic, and animals. I just do photography.
Yeah. Well, I mean that would. I think you're right. I think it is another one where if you're not into anime, you could
Right.
probably watch that and still kind of get it.
Yeah.
You know, and enjoy it. You know. Yeah. Godzilla, I'd like to see more of.
Yes.
Singular Point was kind of fun. I want to see another season of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool. Netflix is doing a lot too, so yeah, I've got other things coming that'll be exciting to announce.
Yeah.
I can, but can't talk about anything yet.
secret classified.
You
Yeah.
guys got any more questions?
I'm good.
I guess the final one. What is Ichigo's thoughts on Sakura-Con and coming back soon for some more future episodes?
Wait, what?
Ichigo. What's your thoughts on Bleach coming back? What does Ichigo think of new episodes of Bleach coming up later on in the future?
Ichigo is very excited.
Oh, what he said.
He's very excited to kick some butt, take some names. I don't know. Me personally, I am excited.
can
It's
believe
bittersweet
it.
ending the last time, so it'd be nice to have that fulfilling end to the story, which I look forward to. It's kind of like when I did Devil May Cry. I did part 4, but it wasn't really the full story. So getting to do part 5 really kind of completed, or at least got us to a good place in that story. So it'd be nice to come back in Bleach and to be able to kind of get a good wrap up on it.
Last question on all the Dantes. Do you do all the Dante's voice acting?
Nero.
That's
Nero,
it?
yeah, I do Nero.
Okay.
I did the motion capture in Japan, as well as the voice of Mira.
Okay, understood.
The motion captures all the stuff. You're moving
Yeah,
around. and stuff.
CGI,
Yeah, and they capture the
FMVs.
face and whatnot. So.
Nice.
That was fun. It was actually the first time I got to go to Japan was for Devil May Cry 4. But that in itself was really super cool. If you
Did they
like
put
anime,
stuff on your face
if
to
you
make
like
the-
it, yeah, they do.
That
If
is
you like it,
interesting.
well, it's like dots, but dots all over.
Nice.
If you like anime, going to Japan it's kind of cool.
Okay, but
If you
how
watch
I
enough
hear-
anime, you get to walk around and be like, that's like this anime, that's like that. And
It's surreal, you know?
it is, and you'll, especially the slice of life kind of anime, you
Yeah.
kind of go like, this is totally the same world. This is pretty cool. And you learn, we were talking about the culture of the Japanese just by watching some of the shows.
Yeah.
The culture is so different, and it's really kind of a neat experience.
Right.
If you ever get a chance to go there, I would recommend it for sure.
All right, I guess the last one. Could you just say, this is made for love and peace, like Vash?
Sure.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we do that to that thing
Now,
there?
did you record
Yeah.
it?
I think he is.
I'm recording it for you, bro.
Want me
But
to
you
do-
want to get a picture too? Or you want to get a video? Or if you want to record on your phone too, that's fine.
Well, let me record it so I can.
This convention is made for
Memory.
love and peace, I guess we could say.
You want me to say
Ready?
this convention?
Or Sakura-Con, or what do you think is a good thing for Vash to? I'll let you decide.
Sakura-Con, yeah.
All right, sounds
Wait.
good.
That's kind of weird. Sakura-Con is made of, I guess I could. Sakura-Con is made of love and peace!
This world
yeah.
is made of!
Awesome.
This world is made of! Made of
Yeah.
love and peace!
That was a blast.
Thank you so much.
You guys have a great weekend.
38